If you are a student or faculty member at Frostburg State University, you have probably noticed the strips of dead grass along many of the sidewalks. They can be seen all over campus and they are a real eyesore. Well, if you have seen these, you may have asked the same question that our group did. Just what is causing this problem? Well, as we all know, Frostburg gets pretty cold during the winter, and with this cold weather comes a lot of snow. As the snow falls, it tends to pile up on the roads and sidewalks, which makes it difficult to travel. Well, one of the best ways to get rid of the snow and ice is by spreading salt on the sidewalks to melt it. Sounds like a good idea, right? But the problem is that this salt can actually be harmful to the environment. We asked FSU geology professor Dr. Allen to explain the effect that salt can have on the soil.
Basically, you're taking a system out of its natural balance. Salt, or the sodium and the sodium chloride, can be a natural essential nutrient so plants and the soil ecology, such as bacteria and other organisms, need a little bit of that to survive. But if you add too much to it, you take it out of balance and it can actually become toxic, and it stops those organisms being able to perform and function. And once they start dying, then the soil leads to stress and collapse, because the organics in the soil actually help bind it together. Once they die, nothing's binding it together, so the really small particles which are essential for good soil fertility get blown away or washed away during a rainstorm, and it's a sort of crescendo effect where it just gets worse and worse and worse.
So too much salt can actually cause a plant to die. But wait, how does this actually happen? See, plants take in water by a process called osmosis. This basically means that water will naturally flow to an area of high solute concentration. Normally this location is in the plant's roots, so water will just naturally flow right in. However, when the soil around a plant gets too much salt in it, the plant's roots no longer have a higher solute concentration. This means that water will no longer flow into the roots and the plant will become dehydrated. Okay, so salt may be bad for plants, but should we really care about this problem? We asked Dr. Allen for his opinion.
I think we should care, because it is a big problem. If you look all across campus, it's blatant where it is, and it's getting bigger, and it's just showing that our impact on the environment has now got to a point where it's blatantly detrimental, and we're killing the soil community. And it's all done in our name, because the university has a duty of care to the people on site, so we don't fall over and injure ourselves during the winter months. So we have to put this de-icing material down, so we are responsible for that damage to the ecosystem. Whether we think about it or not, it's being done for us, so we should care that we're having a lasting impact on it. Because now that spring's here, if you look, especially on a dry day, you'll see white crystalline material on top of the soil. That's the salt literally leaching out of the ground, desiccating on top, and then being blown away and being redistributed across the rest of the ecosystem. So we're just re-spreading this pollutant.
Okay.
And it all goes into a river, which washes down into the bay and contributes to their problems.
Wow, so this problem could affect our local environment and even the state's water system. But wait, there's more. Since the campus's barren soil is so unsightly, each year the university pays to have new grass planted, and this costs the university and ultimately the students a lot of money. So the all-important question here is, what can we do? We still have to maintain the sidewalks, but can we do it in a way that is less stressful to the environment? One obvious possibility is to spread less salt. We should closely analyze the amount of salt we use to ensure that we don't use more than is needed. It would also be beneficial to clean up the salt that remains after storms. This way, piles of salt like this picture shows would not be left to leach into the soil. Finally, we could also try to seek out alternatives to salt. They do exist, but they are relatively expensive. However, it is also expensive to replant the campus's grass every year. Whatever the proper solution is, we think it is important that one be found. Frostburg truly is a beautiful campus, and it also has a beautiful environment. It is a shame that such a magnificent location is being tainted by this solvable problem.